She said 2 words.
What 2 words? What were they? What did she say?
Bad wolf. Are you afraid of the big bad wolf, Doctor?
Shalom Z, everybody, and welcome to the Bat Wolf broadcast. I am Tony, and with me always.
Oti!
And today we are distraught. We are
Overjoyed?
weirded out. We are all over the place because what the hell? The finale of Doctor Who just came out. The Reality War, the final episode of Series 15, Season 2, again, whatever you want to call it. And oh my god,
Yep.
do we have things to talk about in this episode.
I watched this episode and I had to wait like 5 hours before Tony watched it. I couldn't talk about the episode with anyone because no one I know watches Doctor Who except Tony and another friend of mine. So they hadn't watched it. So I was like,
Yep. But here we are talking about it because we definitely have to talk about it. And I don't even, to be honest, I don't even know where to start.
No, if you want, I'll help you out. But I tweeted this out and I texted it to you and my other friend who likes Doctor Who. And I said, I could spoil this episode to you and you would not believe me. You would think I'm doing that like,
Yeah.
oh, and then Superman shows up. Like, if I, spoilers by the way, if I had told you, oh yeah, no, this is actually a regeneration episode, the Ronnie is just like a distraction. So Shruti gonna regenerate, but before he does, the 13th Doctor is gonna show up. Also, he's gonna regenerate and turn into Rose Tyler. You would have been like, "You're joking," and you know why?
I would have been like, stop using drugs, man.
And you know why I know this is what people would have thought? Because I heard all these leaks like a year ago, and I was like, that makes absolutely no sense. Like the Doctor is gonna regenerate and he's gonna turn into Rose is like a thing that's been going on the internet. And I was like, that is absurd. That is not gonna happen. Here we are. We're in the middle of the reality war. This is the reality war.
I know, and especially for all the little things that they gave us that got basically no answers. You know, like, where's Susan? Nobody cares. Rogue? Nobody cares.
The Rogue thing, I think I have an answer for, and it's something that I think I didn't mention in the previous episode.
Okay. Still, like, this was crazy. This was very, very wild. This went places that I did not think it would go to, and at the same time, it went exactly where I thought it would go to. It's kind of crazy. It's very, very weird. I don't even know how to explain it.
It felt completely out of place and completely where it needed to go at the same time. Like,
it was that's the thing. It's exactly what I thought it was gonna be, and nothing that I thought it was gonna be. Like,
there's a moment in like pop culture that I always reference as my what the fuck is happening moment, and it's in Avengers Endgame when the Hulk is talking.
Oh yeah.
So that was a moment that I basically looked at everyone in the theater. I was like, what is going on?
he's ordering breakfast. He's taking selfies with kids. Like, yeah,
we take time, and so that was my reaction. And for me, this entire episode was a whole like, what is happening? I went through a literal roller coaster of emotions. I thought the show was turning into a lot of different things at a lot of different times. And I went, there was a moment where I was like, I absolutely hate this. I hate everything that's happening right now. There were moments that I was like, Russell T. Davies is a fucking genius. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, no, this literally went, for lack of a better term, it went all over the place. And I think that was kind of like the point of it. Like, just kind of, like essentially like pinballing us into this episode. Like, hitting different walls and hitting different things and then suddenly landing where we land. I also think it like hits on so much of what we've discussed of like what the Doctor wants and how he thinks and how he sees things. And then at the same time, I'm like, somebody was on drugs when they wrote this. Like they're like clearly like this is so insane and it tries to go into too many things at the same time while nothing is important, you know, like I still don't know what was the most important thing of everything that we saw in the episode. You know what I mean? Like,
There were a lot of moments that by themselves
yeah.
would have been like the highlight of the season.
So
It,
yeah, so it was crazy. It was crazy.
And by the way, another story that it reminded me a lot of was because I think I had a similar reaction, and I think I fall in a similar place. I kind of fall. I think it has some of the same faults. It reminds me a lot of Rise of Skywalker.
Mm.
It goes at 1,000 miles per hour. There's a shit ton of things going on. What you thought was gonna be, the final confrontation turns out to be like a hunt for a triangle to get to this place, and this turns into something else. It clearly is affected by reshoots. We'll get into that because that's like the internet is going wild with that.
Huh?
It feels like a lot of stories stitched together, but in the end, I kind of like it.
Here's the thing. Here's my best analogy for it. And honestly, it kind of goes back into the first episode of this season, The Robot Revolution. They get on a ship and they go to this planet. When they go to this planet, they go through this shift, is what the Doctor calls it, that like kind of mess things up timeline wise. This episode to me is the ship starts, hits this shift, it goes literally all over the like every single shade of the spectrum that you could think of. But it then kind of like lands where it needs to land. You know
That
what
was
I
a
mean?
close
Like,
one.
it was a close one, but it does end up where it needs to end up.
I guess so.
And I mean, it was crazy. Like, I literally kept just being like, what the hell is happening here? Like, but. Uh,
And by the way, I'm pretty sure that in all these 7 minutes that we've been talking and saying how crazy this was, not once did you and I think about the kaiju fight with a building.
oh,
Not
no.
once. And that's something that happens. You
And
probably
no,
never even
no,
thought
no,
about
no,
Omega
no.
being like a huge monster.
We never thought that the unit building could move.
Yep.
You know?
So, Tony, let's get the housekeeping out of the way.
Let's do
We'll
it.
be right back to talk about the reality war. Hey companions, before we get started, we want to remind you that you can listen to us over on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, and wherever you get your podcast. Wherever you listen, make sure to follow and subscribe so the podcast episodes will pop up automatically in your feed and you don't have to look for them. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, make sure to leave us a 5-star review, which really helps us get to more people, and that way the show can keep growing. You can also follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Threads at batwolf_FNI. You can also keep up with our co-hosts' adventure. You can follow Collectoni52, which is Tony's collection page, and you can follow El Podcast de Star Wars, which is Odie's main Twitter and social media handle, but also his Spanish language Star Wars podcast. And our co-hosts also have Film Not Included, which is a podcast dedicated to discussing all sorts of films. The links to all these things I just said will be linked down below. Without further ado, let's get right into the Bad Wolf broadcast. Okay.
All right. Yeah.
The reality war. Let's go.
Where do we start?
In the beginning. We will go through the entire episode. Jesus. We'll go through the entire episode.
The Star of Bethlehem.
The Big Bang. Okay, so the Doctor is falling. Again, right where it left us.
Mhm.
He is falling from the balcony. Russell T Davies talked a lot about having this scene in his head and wanting to put it in the episode, but not knowing how it was gonna be solved, and that was like a detractor. And he said that once Moffat came up with the time hotel concept and the doors, he was like, "Oh, perfect! I have a solution for the
Yes.
problem." So I was like, "Okay." Felt too easy, but whatever. Um,
I feel like it was one of those like very Doctor Who full circle things of like, you're the person I helped at the beginning of this season, so thank you for coming back to help me out, you
yep.
know?
But I love seeing Anita. I
Oh, me
love that
too.
character in the holiday special. So having her back, she's married now. She has a kid. She got over the Doctor. Um,
While being in love with the Doctor, which is a whole thing, and it's
so
crazy
they really
because
did have a thing.
I feel like there it was definitely more her sided than his sided. He was
Right?
very much like waiting for time
Yeah,
to
because
pass.
he knew he had to go,
Yeah,
but I think but he enjoyed it.
yeah.
Put
No,
it like,
definitely, definitely, and that's the thing of it's very weird because when we get our Doctor companionships, like we think of them as like they've been together for a year because that's what we saw as a TV show.
yeah, yeah.
But their adventures are usually like a couple of months. Like this is like the first time the Doctor lived with somebody, like woke up and somebody was there, went to bed and somebody was there. You know, like
I
the
mean,
Doctor very rarely has those relationship moments.
and they just had a very mundane life. It
Huh.
wasn't hanging out and fighting Daleks and running away from Cybermen.
It was
Uh,
running a tiny little hotel in London, you
it
know?
was intimate. That's
Yeah.
the word, intimate. And I'm pretty sure he was heartbroken when he had
Oh
to leave.
yeah.
But so yeah, I love seeing Anita, and she's like, "Yeah, no, I'm here to help. Like, we're going back to May 23rd. This has happened like 1,000 times, so like, let's
Yeah,
try
and
to
I
solve
love
it
that
because I'm
she's like,
tired
yeah,
of this."
because the hotel kind of works on the whole time stream. She's like, because the Earth ends, the hotel is in kind of like a flux thing because
It never existed.
a lot of our history is because of the
Yeah,
hotel. It's in the hotel. Sorry, um, but then the Doctor kind of also realizes he can use the hotel to bring reality into this wish world.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly, because the hotel is real.
Yeah.
Um, so what's happening is this is a constant loop. Every time we get to May 24th, May 23rd starts, and the Ronnie explains that every time it happens, the space gets narrow and narrower.
Yeah,
So
like the veil in reality gets thinner and thinner and thinner until it can finally snap.
exactly. So and they're about to make it work. So time is of the pressing. Um,
Yeah, no, they need literally have like very little time to do it, or she'll find Omega, and like that's still being like the reveal that we got in the last episode that essentially wants to what she wants to do is release Omega and um like bring him back into the real plane
yep.
because he's in this kind of like it's weird because they explain it as the underverse, which I'm assuming it's like this just kind of parallel kind of void
Now,
type of thing, you know.
yeah.
So
Uh,
very interesting.
So the Doctor is back with Belinda. I love that shot when he drops the clothing and he has now
He has his
the
his
outfit.
shot. Yeah.
I would have hoped it was like the brown jacket because I think that's his like
One thing that
signature
I
look.
did love, and I didn't realize this until I saw it on Twitter, like somebody pointed it out. What they wear in this episode, both him and Belinda, is what they were. It's
Yeah,
their promotional
yeah,
shot from
yeah,
like
yeah,
the
yeah.
beginning of the show.
I know, I know.
So it's like it kind of like makes you think of like they kind of have gone through all of this already. I mean, obviously the production world that they probably shot this in a very weird schedule. Like I doubt this was the last episode they shot, but like I'm just saying, like when you think of like the character, right, of like the story that it's telling,
Which,
right?
by the way, thank you for mentioning that. I feel like Doctor Who is going through what the Star Wars fandom went like almost 10 years ago. Um, the last scene of the show isn't necessarily the last scene they shoot. Because a lot of people have, oh, I saw the rap party. It was another scene. And it's like, that literally means nothing.
Yeah. Like, usually the very last scene that they shoot in the show is in Doctor Who, historically, has been the Doctor's last speech by himself in the TARDIS when he regenerates. Historically. Other times they've had to do other stuff, like, because either availability, schedules, like all that sort of stuff with other actors and or sets, or when they go and shoot, in actual real locations as opposed to like the sets, like, they can shoot in the TARDIS any day they want. They have that built, as opposed to having to go somewhere at a certain time so that it can look a certain way or something like that. You know what I mean? But yeah, like, I'm not sure, and we'll see when the BTS comes out, but I'm assuming the very last shot that was shot was the regeneration, but
Yeah.
I'm not 100. I can't with confidence say that.
And on that note, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I'm like 1,000% sure that
Yeah.
Shruti had no idea who was next.
I doubt it.
Like, I think that was also shot like Billy Piper.
This is the man who said that he would be very disappointed if he never fought Daleks. So,
Oh yeah, we'll get to that. Okay, so where were we? Okay, so the Doctor then brings everyone into unit. He manages to wake them all up through the time hotel.
Yep.
Something I didn't really understand that. They're all back.
kind of like,
Kate's
I guess he was
"Why
like
am I wearing
opening
tweed?"
doors to reality and essentially bringing it in so they could like wake up.
Yep. So the unit is back and they're bracing for war. The giant bone kaijus we see in the previous episode are gonna attack the building.
But what I do love, the Ronnie shows up and does what every villain always does.
So, okay, let's talk about that scene. I did not like that scene.
Oh, you didn't like it?
It reminded, I watched the Ronnie episodes from Old Who.
Really?
Year. Yeah. Really liked them.
You didn't tell me.
I watch Old Who sometimes, like, on YouTube. I don't have to tell you everything I do. Fuck you.
I don't have to tell. I know we run a Doctor Who podcast, but you know what? Fuck you.
Actually, I fun fact, I watched Day of the Dalek not that long ago.
Really?
So I was like, oh,
Day of the Dalek. It's
oh, by the way, we jumped that. We get that Matt Smith scene.
Yeah.
What was that? I don't remember that scene.
I thought, because he was playing chess with this
cowboy
robot
hat.
wearing the cowboy hat, and I was like, I don't remember this at all.
Is that new? I mean, I don't think
I don't think it's new.
Because
You know what?
It looks like Matt Smith at that moment.
I'm gonna look it up.
I think that's like season 2 Matt Smith. But anyways, so we get that, and then we get Day of the Dalek, and then we get Rogue. I love it. Anita just going through. She basically says that she looked for the Doctor, so I assume she saw every single incarnation.
Yeah.
So okay, I watched those Ronnie episodes, and that scene actually reminded me a lot of those episodes because it's very exposition heavy. It was very Power Rangers acting. It was like, here's my grand plan, and everyone will perish. And I thought the show was going to do something interesting. I thought, like, maybe the reality war is these people fighting over what to do. Because Belinda's like, over my dead body. Like, you're not going to destroy this world. Because Poppy can't die. Right. And that's the other thing that's going on. The Doctor realizes that Poppy's special because even breaking out of the Wish world, they still remember her.
Yeah, and like and she's still something real to them. And there's this whole thing about, like, can she be the future of the Time Lords? And like,
exactly, because the Ronnie wants to bring back the Time Lords. She's like, hey, Time Lords are sterile, so
that's another reveal that we get, is that technically they can't have children. They are fully sterile. They can't really procreate, which kind of goes into the whole thing of like, then how does the Doctor have a granddaughter and all that stuff? You know, like,
But like that's the whole
we've
thing with the
seen
doctor's.
children in Gallifrey too. Like,
That's also the whole thing with the doctor's daughter. Like she's not really his daughter, but she is.
yeah, I guess.
I don't know. This has always been extremely convoluted.
Yeah.
And again, a hat on a hat on a hat because I don't think we needed this information. But whatever. The Time Lords are sterile, I guess. So she wants to use Omega to bring back the Time Lords. And the doctor's like, hey, but look at this. And now by generation, like maybe that's another way to bring back the
Right.
Time Lords. But no, the Ronnie's evil. And she's like, nah, fuck this. I want to bring back Omega. So they devise this whole plan where they're going to seal Poppy and Belinda in this cube, basically the Pandorica. And
Essentially.
she's just gonna be there. She just exists. Like you don't go hungry, you don't die. Again, the Pandorica.
Literally.
And she and Ruby is then gonna jump on the Bone Palace. She's gonna find Conrad and basically get him to stop.
Yeah.
And the Doctor's gonna face the Ronnie because Time Lords.
Because of course you got to do it.
Yeah. I love this episode for Ruby, by the way. She was super active in the whole plot.
Well, I feel like she's finally realized like she has something to do. I do love that scene, right, where she like Grandma Cherry is like, "Oh, what are you doing? You're running about." And she's like, "I'm finally doing what I do best." And she's like, "Yeah, getting in the way usually, but still."
I have a bold claim. I think Ruby's one of my favorite companions, dude. Like,
oh,
I really like her, and she has this whole thing that she's special. So I don't know. You say she gets in the way. I thought she was pretty cool in this episode. I like that she's always like she exists outside of this reality.
Yeah.
Of what happened to her with 73 yards, and now she remembering the wish world and being the only person who remembers.
Yeah, I think there's more to her than we've yet to explore.
We'll get to that, but
I don't know if that's something that we will continue to explore in the show, or if that will become one of those like extra canon things or whatever.
Yeah,
like,
where's Clara?
yeah, no, and like one of those like I always keep forgetting it's like there's a comic book run of the Doctor, with Ruby as the companion, and there's a lot of stuff happening there. I believe there's like already like 4 or 5 books that came out.
3 Ruby books and 3 Belinda books.
Okay, cool. So see, like we're getting all these extra media, so who knows if it'll be something we explore. But yeah, that's gonna be interesting. I'm very intrigued by that for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, love Ruby. So they go to the Bone Palace while Shield is right. I love that scene. Like, yeah, CGI heavy, but the Doctor going through the battlefield.
Oh
the
yeah,
building,
yeah.
moving, shooting. I was like, wow.
Also, and I know this is something that we've discussed. Like, I feel like this is one of those episodes where you mostly feel the shooty theme.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah. We've talked about how every Doctor has their theme. Like there's the Matt Smith one, there's the Capaldi one. You have like the Tennant one that's like very like, and I love that you feel Chutis so much in this one, especially when he's like just riding that like bone scooter across the sky, like, yeah. And again, the CGI, like everybody's always
it's a
like,
TV show.
This is what I hate about people shitting on the Doctor Who CGI. It's like, one, it's always been bad ever since the show started, like in the 60s. Even when the show was huge, like when the show, like I'm talking like Tom Baker era, like it was still crappy. See, it's not like they were like, oh, now we have to go to ILM and up the game, our game. I was like, no, fuck it. It was still a Saturday morning TV show for the BBC. And I feel like the more people think like, this has to evolve, I feel the more it loses its thing. Like, I love that it's so like childlike almost in what
it's
it
the
shows.
Power Rangers acting thing.
Literally, yeah.
It's what Star Wars tries to be at times. Yeah. So they're in the palace. Ruby, I love that scene with Ruby and Conrad. She basically getting him to stop. She, she kind of does care for him, and she being like, "Hey, I know you were playing a part, but like it can't have all been just that
Right.
character. Like I'm sure I got to you at some level.
Yeah.
Um,
And like
so
you're still also a human, like,
yeah,
and I love that she uses the whole dream thing on him because she's like, hey, like you could be a horrible person, but still you created a fairly okay world,
yeah, people are happy,
besides I guess the whole like you fucking were shitty to handicapped people, but
and you
other
made Rose disappear.
yeah, but other than that, it's like, yeah, like you kept people fed, you kept people like, safe, you kept
And
people
we
like
did see that.
happy.
He's like, holy shit, I can't forget about the weather. I don't want people to die.
Exactly, yeah. So she's like, hey, you can't be all bad. Like a villain would actually be like, fuck, like there's war in all these places and
Yeah,
there's things happening here and like,
domination and
yeah. Um
I I do like that when she gets the baby, she's like, I wish you find happiness.
yeah, I wish you were happy. Yeah, literally.
Yeah. Because that's the problem with that
Which
kind of
which
people. They're just like
happiness to Conrad is being a barista
in the
in the
shop.
in
Happiness
yeah.
is found in the simple things.
Hey,
Happiness is found.
hey, I say it all the time. If I could just open up a little bakery and coffee shop in the little town, I'd be happy.
So, we got that. Oh, and by the way, in unit, everyone is back. Melis rides
Oh, the Ronnie fucking sees Mel.
yeah, and they're like, you.
I love that the Ronnie is like, oh, you, like the little princess, and I love that Mel is like, I didn't think about you
1
1 second,
second.
and I love
It's
the
like,
Ronnie
yes,
was
you
like,
did.
you liar.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, another line I loved in that scene when
Damn, so you've seen Young Mel episodes. I love that.
yeah.
Uh,
So I love when Mrs. Flood is like when Belinda and Ruby are like, she's my neighbor, which I told you they were
yeah,
neighbors.
I know.
And she was like, oh, finding the doctor, that was easy. You just find like a random blonde
You
19 year
find a
old.
blonde girl and he'll be there.
He'll be there at some
Yeah.
point. Yeah, great line. Good call forward.
Yeah.
So the doctor then faces the Ronnie in the Bone Palace.
Yeah.
I love how the Ronnie's like, you really don't want to know? You really don't want to be a part of this? And the doctor being like, yeah.
No, and there's this thing about the doctor that it's very like I always think of Wild Blue Yonder when he's he can't he shouldn't think because that'll make the alien get ahead of him, but he still has to think because it's the doctor, and like that's how his brain works. And in here she's like, are you sure, like this is a mystery, like this is an
You
actual
sure you don't want
mystery,
to
like
know?
are you like playing into that side of the doctor, and he's still like, I do but I don't, but like I kind of want to know what's back there, but I also don't, and like
So like I literally think he just went there because he wanted to know. Like he did this all I need to face
yeah,
her. Like, no, I kind of want to know.
he wanted to be there when it happened. Yeah.
So yeah. The Omega is out. The shield of Rassilon opens, and
Well, the seal of Rassilon becomes the seal of Omega.
I guess sure.
Yeah. Well, that's
And
what that symbol is.
yeah, I know. I'll tell you something, Tony. When that seal was opening, there was a drum beat in the background.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's gonna fucking happen.
No, I know. I thought about it too, but I think they've already kind of established that the drum beat is simply symbolic of the heartbeat of the Time Lords.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, no. But I thought it was the music.
Yeah.
Music cue teasing the master
Yeah.
coming out. So like,
Yeah.
with all the Michelle.
No. I'm telling you, I felt exactly the same way. I literally was like, I was like, who in there right now?
So I heard that beat and I was like, they're gonna do it, these crazy lunatics. Okay, so Omega Russell T Davies likes these giant CGI monsters
Yeah,
now.
yeah. So here's the thing. It's not Omega. It's like Omega has become his own legend. And I
The
think that
god
what the
of
doctor
time.
said was like, in the Underverse, all of these legends are alive, right? All these like, historical things. And you kind of become the legend. And I kind of think that was the purpose of the episode of the story and the engine, kind of bringing us into this whole like storytelling thing of like, when we tell these stories, they become alive and they become these legends and they become part of our history and our culture. And Omega was that for the Time Lords. He was like this piece of lore for the Time Lords, like the mad legend and like, this kind of crazy person that started the whole time travel thing. And I think that's kind of what the doctor was saying. He becomes this legend as opposed to the real person. Because to be honest, I was expecting the guy in the like
You were
hell.
expecting Timothy Dalton, you
Uh,
bastard.
Dude, I swear to fucking God, I thought about that so much as the episode was
Also,
happening.
we need a new Rassilon. Like, I want a
Yeah.
new master. We need a new Rassilon. It's been a while.
Yeah. It's been a while.
So okay.
But yeah, so it's this monster thing
Who eats the Ronnie?
eats the Ronnie, like, and then the other Ronnie
But-
escapes. So technically, the Ronnie is still alive.
I love that, by the way. I love that. The Mrs. Fudd being like, oh, finally.
Yeah. No,
Which
but
sucks because I
again,
love this actress. But
but also again, I think about the Ronnie, and I don't know if you've noticed this in her episodes. That's her thing. It's like once she realizes she can't do it, she's like, okay, bye.
yeah.
So
So I love that she just leaves.
yeah,
Oh, and she doesn't have a TARDIS anymore. She just has like this.
she uses a time ring, which is, I'm assuming it's like a thing like the vortex manipulator from Jack Harkness. Like it's just a way to time travel, but it's not like precise.
Yeah.
You can just get places. That's what I'm assuming. I don't know.
So reality begins to implode. I love that line, my
Yeah.
little doctor.
My little doctor.
So the palace begins to implode. But of course, where is the TARDIS? The palace is the TARDIS.
Yep.
So
I also love that thing about the doctor being like, yep, here I am with no weapon, and what am I supposed to do? Maybe just grab something that's hidden in plain sight, and just like grabs the Vindicator from behind him.
That was very cool.
Yeah.
That was very cool.
Yeah, it was, and I love that it looks like a fucking flying bee. You know what I mean? So like it just looks like he's like rocking it out.
Yep. So yeah, he runs away, meets with Ruby in the control room.
Mm-hmm. Well, pushes Omega into the Underverse again.
Exactly.
I guess it's a way of them being like, he could be back.
Sure. As everyone, apparently.
Yeah.
And they return then to unit. Love seeing Chuti and Ruby in the TARDIS together again. So they arrive, and Belinda survived, and so did Poppy. Funny story. When the camera pans down,
Yeah.
a message popped up in my TV saying like, "Oh, your computer battery is low." So I couldn't see if Poppy was actually there.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, I kind of figured because of the applause, but I couldn't find the remote.
No. Poppy is there. She's alive. Everybody remembers her. Everybody knows that they were able to do this, and everybody's happy. Which, to be honest, I was like, oh wow, we did it.
And okay, here we go. So there's these random things with the Earth. Everything is back to normal, but weird things are happening.
Yes.
The border between Sweden and Norway moved a little bit. Tony, I could be wrong. Wasn't Batwolf Bay in the border between Norway and Sweden?
Was it?
I don't know.
I don't remember.
I could be wrong. So yeah, there's weird things going on in the Earth. Poppy's alive, and she's the doctor's daughter, and he's Belinda's daughter. And they're in the TARDIS, and Ruby is watching them, and they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna settle down, but we're gonna go on adventures. So I'm gonna turn this house into, and I'm gonna turn the TARDIS into a house." Tony, this was the moment where I was like,
Oh, it doesn't specify exactly where
okay,
in Norway it is.
whatever. This was the moment where I was like, I absolutely hate where this is going.
Uh-huh.
I was like, is the next season gonna be like a sitcom with the Doctor and Poppy and
And like doing adventures like as a family and like yeah.
I was so out of it. Like that completely took it. I was just like, what is this?
I felt that for a second, and then immediately afterward I was like, there's no way this is where we're ending.
And I did this very conscious thing where I didn't want to check how much was left to the episode, because I think that sometimes can lead to spoilers. So
Right.
I was like, how much is left? Like, what's happening?
Yeah. Where are we going? Yeah.
They won. Why is this still going on? Why aren't we wrapping shit up? And then we get that scene where Ruby is looking at them and they're folding the little
The jacket.
And that's probably one of my favorite scenes ever. And
dude,
right after I was like, I hate this, I was like, Russell T. Davies is a genius.
I am with you 100%. And like it took me a second because I was like, first I was like, why do they keep cutting back to them?
Because
then Esther was like, it's getting smaller, and I was like, wait, what?
And I had that thing like, is it getting smaller? I was like, no, wait, it wasn't a jacket. Was it a handkerchief? Like, it disappears.
Yeah, literally, dude. It was so unreal the way they brought us to that point. And
at first I was like, is Ruby feeling sad? Is she like feeling left out and wants to join
right, because that's the other thing. We see it all through the perspective of Ruby. We see it all like kind of like from that POV.
And that's why I love her, because she notices these things
immediately. She knows what's happening.
So yeah, the baby's gone, and the doctor knows.
The doctor doesn't know at first.
I think he does, because you noticed the wink.
What
you did
wink?
not notice the wink?
There was a wink?
One of the last times she mentions it in the TARDIS, he winks at her. He's like, no, there was a baby named Poppy. We saw her years ago.
Right, like, yeah. Oh.
So, and then I thought, okay, this is amazing. Like, the Doctor, Ruby, and Belinda are gonna go on an adventure together now, and this is something that he's gonna hide, and it's gonna come back later.
Wow, I didn't catch that wink.
Yeah. So, but Ruby can't let it go. She's like, no. But she kind of drops it for a second when they go back to unit. And then they're talking about how the doctor saved the day, how everything is fine. And then Ruby brings back the topic. And she's like, no, like, and at first I didn't like this. I thought the scene was a little cheesy. Like when Kate said, we are all your kids.
Yeah, that part I was like, yeah,
God.
Esther looked at me and was like, what the fuck?
Fuck you, Russell T. Davis. Like, and Kate of all people, come on.
Yeah.
You have Mel say that.
I'm with you.
And so at first I didn't like this, but then I thought about it, like, there's just no way that the doctor would know that Poppy is real and disappeared and would do nothing about it.
No, exactly.
There
is no world where he wouldn't try something, you know?
Yeah. So I did like Ruby calling him out on that. And people then remembering. Which it's cool because the world is still like in flux, and reality and the wish are still like, yeah, I know, flux, are still like colliding. So then the doctor's like, okay, the time moved 1 centimeter, was it?
One
So
fraction to the side. Yeah.
yeah, and the only thing that could bring it back is a Time Lord. And he jumps on the TARDIS alone, and he's like, I have to do this alone.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, cool. Season 3 is a Doctor Solo mission.
Yeah,
But-
like that's what I thought too. I was like, okay, is he just gonna go into this? What I thought was like, he's gonna go to try to do this. It's going to happen, but it's going to backfire in a way that's going to send him somewhere far away. And then he's going to have to make his way back to Earth. And like, it's going to be an adventure far away from Earth. Cause I do think we've been on Earth a little bit too long. I'm not going to like, as much as I love Earth, I'm like, Doctor, there's other places. Come on.
Okay. New Delhi. Where are we going there?
Exactly.
So the Doctor gets on the TARDIS, and I think the regeneration word is said. I'm like, no way.
He's like, I need to use regeneration energy to like essentially make this happen. Yeah.
So he basically starts forcing a regeneration. He uses the light in him to tap into the TARDIS energy. Tony, who was the last person who tapped into the TARDIS's energy?
Rose Tyler.
Rose Tyler. I think that's gonna be important soon.
I believe so. I agree.
Okay.
I agree.
So when he's about to do this thing, though, someone has something to say about it.
Somebody does have something to say about it.
Jodie Whittaker is in the TARDIS.
Yep.
And the 13th Doctor confronts the 15th Doctor. Loved seeing Jodie. I've wanted her to come back ever since she left. So I saw that season like a year ago. I've wanted her to come back for a year.
Yep.
I
mean, who doesn't love Jodie?
Yeah. So it was a way smaller role than I thought, but whatever. Like, this isn't the 50th anniversary special, so whatever.
I also think it was a way to get people ready for what was
happening.
Yeah.
Remember last time it was a blonde girl?
Yeah.
So she basically tries to convince him not to do this, but then the Doctor convinces her that he
has to do this. Yeah.
He tells her he loves her, and she's like, I should say that more. I should say that to Jazz. He's like, you never will.
He's like, you never will.
She knows. Cool.
I do love that, because I love when doctors help each other.
Yeah.
But I also know, like, because of the whole way the doctors being together works, it's like, she's not gonna remember this. Like, know, and it's so interesting that it's her, because I think it kind of goes to show that it was kind of like those two doctors that were quote unquote controversial for a lot of people. So I do love that it's Jodie being like, you got this. You just gotta be you.
Every doctor controversial?
They're all cis white men, so no.
Oh, okay, fine. Tell that to Joe Martin. So whoa. So yeah, the Doctor taps into the TARDIS energy, and reality itself breaks apart.
Yep.
Cool shot. Cool shot.
Great shot.
So the Doctor then is in Belinda's house. He wakes up. It's May 24th, finally. And
the day she needed to get there.
The day and the time she needed to get there.
Mm-hmm.
And the Doctor's like, wait, what happened? And she's like, oh, like, you got me home and you disappeared. And she tells him, like, thank you for bringing me home exactly when I needed to get here, because I needed to see Poppy. And the Doctor's like, what? And then we get this montage basically telling us that reality rewrote itself.
Yeah.
And the reason why she had to get home was because her parents were leaving and she needed to
take care of Poppy, which is her daughter.
Yep. I love this, actually.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know how I expected this to play out, but I did love this resolution to the Poppy thing and to Belinda's story.
Here's the thing. When it first happened, I was like, what? And then immediately afterwards, I was like, Oh. And I love that it's this thing. Well, here's how I saw it. I feel like it wasn't just that reality rewrote itself. I think that there's this thing about the Doctor where he can sometimes be a little selfish and a little
Sometimes.
most times and in his own head. And all the time, all he heard was Belinda being like, I need to get back home. I need to get back home. I need to get back home. But he
Oh,
never heard her actually say why. And
I
all the time he was like, yeah, I'll get you home. Like I just can't. We'll need to do this whole thing with the Vindicator. And like, which all that I think is true. I don't think he was ever not trying to get
no,
her
no, no.
home. But it's more like, because he was in his own kind of like, why is this happening? The TARDIS isn't working. I can't get there. He was focused on himself and he wasn't focused on Belinda. And I love that that's kind of like Belinda's reasoning. And she's like, if it were up to me, we'd be going in the stars with Poppy right now. But as a parent, I can't do that. Like,
Yeah.
I can't do that to my child. And you're
So,
not reliable,
yep.
As
So,
much as I love you, by the way.
by the way, when the Doctor wakes up, his hand is glowing.
Yeah.
And he's like, not yet.
I love that he blows it away. And I love that like a Capaldi thing.
Like a
And
Capaldi thing.
yeah.
So I thought that what was going to happen is like, okay, season 3 is the Doctor's last, it's going to be his last season, and the regeneration is going to be like a recurring thing.
He's just going to keep pushing it away.
Yeah, I thought that was what was going to happen. Because, like, again, I was like, I thought the episode was ending, so I was like, he's not going to regenerate.
Right.
But then after that scene with Belinda, I was like, he has to regenerate now. Like, he's not gonna have a better pre-regeneration scene.
No, and I love that moment when she's like, I hope I see you again.
Not with this face.
And by the way, I love that they go back to something that we've played on with the Doctor since New Who and even Old Who. And she's like, or don't do that? Do you just leave people behind? And he's like, I'm trying to be different. Like, I'm trying not to do that anymore.
Ruby still gets her solo episodes. Yeah. Relax.
Yes, exactly. But I haven't seen Martha in years, but I'll see you.
So yeah, and he's like, you'll see me, but not with this face. And
exactly.
She's like, what does this mean? And he's like, thank you. Bye.
He's like, don't worry about it, sweetheart.
Yep. So I love that scene.
Yeah.
I love that being Belinda's last scene. Tony, no goodbye with Ruby.
I think it's because she's coming back.
I think so too.
Yep.
I also thought that their goodbye last season was probably one of the most effective goodbyes in Doctor Who. So maybe they were like, they already said goodbye. Whatever. So we'll see.
Well, I also feel like, as opposed to with Belinda, that it's like a whole new adventure. The Ruby isn't expecting him to come back for her at this point. Like, they've already gone their separate ways. So
exactly.
But,
so,
like, I do think that she's coming back.
I think so too. So the Doctor jumps on the TARDIS, and he's like, I don't want to do this alone. So I love how they tied everything together. He goes to the star. He goes to see Joy, and basically his last words are, it's been an absolute joy, which I think were fitting words, because I think that best describes his Doctor. He's the joyful Doctor.
Yeah.
Tries to bring happiness everywhere he goes.
Yeah, and it's all about like trying to be a more positive Doctor in the light of everything that he has to go through, right?
He had to be Capaldi, like, time for some light. And he regenerates and turns into Billie Piper.
Yep.
And
Rose Tyler
what does
herself.
She say? Oh, hello.
Yep.
Hello there.
Hello there. Oh, wow. You imagine? Ewan McGregor.
Oh, great Doctor.
Yes, so becomes Rose Tyler, or somebody that looks like Rose Tyler, I should say.
Okay,
Uh,
let's go. Let's go. Tony, is that the Doctor? Is that the 16th Doctor?
Bi-generation is a tricky thing.
No, they said he does mention I can't bi-generate. That's not an option.
Yeah.
He has to regenerate. He
I
does say that.
I think that's the 16th Doctor. Who else would it be?
So with the
The
whole tapping
Conquistador.
with the whole tapping into the TARDIS's energy, I
You
thought
think
it
that's
was
Bad Wolf?
I like I think it could be the Bat Wolf, and that's the side arc now. But I don't want them to overcomplicate it. Yeah, the Doctor. It's weird because it's super weird that he turned into Rose. Like
Right.
it's super weird. But if the Doctor can turn into anyone, then it's not breaking any rules. It's
No,
just
and
weird.
and we've already had Capaldi and the whole answer as to why he chose that face.
Exactly,
Um,
exactly. And I'll be honest, Tony. I'll be super honest. When the episode ended, I was like, I don't like this. But then I started thinking, not that long ago. I think I said it here, but I know I sent you like a tweet saying that Jenna Coleman should be the 16th Doctor, and I
right,
love that idea. So then I was like, if Clara can be the 16th Doctor, then why can't Rose be the 16th?
right. No,
So
I'm with you. I think she definitely can. I just have to see how it works. I just have to see how they do it.
I mean, and there's gonna be a lot of questions because we've seen Billie Piper in two roles already.
Uh-huh.
Doctor Who. We see her as Rose, and then we see her as the Batwolf in the 50th. I mean, the
Uh-huh.
Batwolf slash bomb thing.
Right.
Um, and what's this Doctor gonna be like?
I have no words. I have no thoughts. I literally am like, I don't even know where this is going. Like, I don't know what her first action is gonna be. I don't know what.
Like the Doctor has to freak out when they realize what happened.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're gonna have to. I think it's gonna be a whole thing of like, why this face and like, why is this happening? I do wonder if, because you do mention the whole bad wolf thing, and maybe the TARDIS is gonna play a bigger factor in this. Like, you know, um, maybe this is also kind of like the TARDIS getting in the way of regeneration. Um,
I get a word for once.
yeah, I get to say who rides me.
I like that girl.
Yeah, no, I'm
Is he
I'm
gonna?
just.
Is she gonna go find Rose?
Is she gonna go try to find the 14th by
That's
generated
gotta be.
doctor?
I think we sent each other that tweet like
Yeah,
the Doctor visiting Rose and being like 14th, you're there, weird uncle.
yeah.
Um. So okay, Tony, the show as of right now is still not renewed.
Okay.
Here's my theory. And I don't know. I truly just don't know. Maybe it's just hopium. I saw like a behind the scenes interview with Russell T Davies, and he said something like, well, now this chapter of the Doctor's story has ended, and a new one starts without the Doctor in the War of Land and Sea.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of think maybe it's their way of being like, hey, if you want to know what's next, you got to watch the show.
Right.
And a way to, hype up the show.
And that the show will tell you like what will happen next.
Yeah, maybe like in the hopes that the Doctor will show up in the finale or something.
I can see that happening, especially with how I've told you since Doctor Who has started to today, the marketing world has gotten so much different. This whole Disney money thing has changed completely the way Doctor Who gets marketed. Like, we used to never get like quick stuff right after an episode
Yeah.
would release, or like all this, media from episodes, early on, it would really be a mystery. So I think that, yeah, they could be kind of playing into this a little bit, the Disney gurus, telling them like, yeah, you should try this.
Plot twist: Bob Iger is a huge Tom Baker fan, and he
Yo,
has a say on Doctor Who.
plot twist, Kevin Feige's in the room.
Oh, so
I'm sure Kevin Feige likes Doctor Who. I can see that.
I don't think anyone really likes Doctor Who. I'm joking. I do you want to talk about? I don't know. I don't know what's next. And when's next?
Well, if this new war and of land and sea, whatever the fuck, is when December.
This year, later this year.
I'm assuming we're gonna get either a season next year or possibly in 2.
I mean, but I don't know, because by this time last year, this season was shooting or had already wrapped or was about to wrap.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know anything. Like, we don't, new Doctor usually means new TARDIS.
Right.
So you need a new set.
And here's the thing. I just feel like that's why they're going to need to take their time with it and not rush it. But also with seasons 1 and 2, based on how it was kind of, how it panned out, there were some things kind of that came from season 1 and all that stuff. I'm pretty sure he had it planned out,
So that's like the lingering thing. People are upset because there were reshoots earlier this year.
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned the Star Wars fandom earlier because, like, right around the sequel trilogy, there was all these talks of reshoots, and we always say, like, in our shows, reshoots aren't inherently a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
You sometimes are editing something and realize this isn't working, and have to, like, go around it and maybe be like, hey, we need a scene here. Sometimes it is the studio being like, no, let's rewrite this third act. Let's add this subplot. We literally usually never find out what it was.
No.
So, yeah. Did they reshoot the finale? Maybe they did. Did something happen behind the scenes that made them change everything? Maybe. But
yeah, I mean, this is one of those things that we'll just find out as time goes on, and like,
and maybe we won't.
And maybe we won't. Yeah, I just feel like they maybe didn't really know. Maybe there could have been a thing with contracts. It could have been a thing with anything. Like, I don't really know. Like, I'm sure Shruti didn't leave just because he hated it or because he didn't want to be there. I'm sure it was because either he couldn't do it anymore or his contract expired or,
maybe RTD was like, I want to go in a different direction.
Yeah.
Maybe Shruti was like, I want to focus on doing movies. Maybe BBC was like, we don't like this actor, change him.
Yeah, it could have been anything. Yeah. But because I don't want people to be like, oh, how did Shruti didn't want to be in this anymore? I'm like, he probably wanted to. It doesn't always work out. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I love eating ice cream. You can't eat ice cream every day.
Yeah.
So yeah, we just probably will never find out, or maybe we will. Who knows? Tony, I love, by the way, they're sharing a clip of Billie Piper being like she would love to return to Doctor Who because she thinks it would connect a lot with her kids, and it's a whole parents showing up in Marvel and parent actors, I mean, and everyone's sharing like, oh, this is gonna be awesome, like good for her, and yeah, that's awesome. If you look at the clip, it's probably because it's the same stage with the same seats with the same people on stage. It's probably the same question when Russell T Davies was like, yeah, I'll come back and fire everyone.
Oh, Christopher Eccleston, you mean?
Eccleston, yeah. What did I say?
Yeah, you said Russell T.
Oh, sorry. Christopher Eccleston
Yeah,
was like,
he is like,
fine.
fire
And
Russell T Davis, fire Jack Trainer, follow all these people. Yeah, yeah,
and Billy Piper is like, yeah, I would love to for my kids.
yeah. No, I also love it. That's the same one when he was like, yeah, Billy and I have mortgages, like we'll do it if the money is there.
Yeah, so it was funny to me.
Yeah.
Tony with Billy Piper back. If he's gonna come, he said he would only come back if she was there. So if he's gonna come back, it has to happen
It has
now.
to be now. It would have to be now.
Yo, this would be sick.
He's the companion.
Christmas special with these two doctors.
He finally gets a Christmas
He
special.
finally gets a fucking Christmas special.
I would love that. I would love that. Well, that's the other thing. I think they're gonna throw us a special in between, like as a little like spicy thing.
Yeah. Tony, okay, before we go, we will have to do then a look back on Shruti Gat was the 15th
Oh, yeah.
Doctor because he's gone, so we'll do that eventually. We'll probably talk more speculation going forward. I don't know if I'm gonna watch the Land and Sea thing, but we'll see.
I think I will, just to see what it's like.
Okay, so then we'll maybe discuss it here. But with Billy Piper coming back, any wish lists items that you want?
To be honest, I just want it to be good.
Fuck you.
I have no wish list in terms of like I want her to tackle on the Daleks because that was the biggest like thing,
so
but
I'll tell you mine. Maybe that'll give you a sense of
Okay.
what I'm actually asking. Like, I want her to be you went this way. She's the Doctor. Yeah, she's the 16th Doctor.
right.
Give her a season. Don't make this a 65 anniversary special 3
Right,
full
right, right.
episodes. I love the 60th. I love David Tennant coming back as the 14th. Love those episodes. But give her like her own thing.
Right.
Number 2, for the love of God, 10 episodes at least. This whole 8 episode I think really doesn't work. Like that's been my complaint with the last 2 seasons. I don't like just 8 episodes.
I don't know. I'd go as far as saying 13.
It's that kind of show.
Yeah.
Like, I feel that we're missing the super random adventure that I don't like.
Yeah,
that's my issue. I'm liking it too much.
We're missing the like monster of the week episodes in between. Yeah, yeah.
So that's my other thing.
I get it. I get it. I'm with you. And I agree. I think it needs to be, we need to see why Billy's back. It can't just be about like, look at this face, bang, 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 and then we're out. No, it needs to tell us the story. Tell us why. Like, is it a companion related thing? Is it a bad wolf related thing? Is it simply a historical thing of like the Doctor is looking back into his life and being retrospective? Like, I will say one thing that I didn't like is that we hit on the whole Omega thing, but we don't touch on the timeless children and the Doctor being the one who like made Omega who he is and all that sort of stuff. And like,
yeah.
So I'm very intrigued if that's something we'll ever discuss,
I kind of feel like he wanted, I don't know what Russell T Davies was trying to do, but Omega and the Ronnie felt like a means to an end. But again, I feel like he tried to do so many things with this finale.
Yeah, honestly, it just kind of felt like he wanted to do something similar to what he did before, like bringing the Daleks back and bringing all these big characters back. And he only had so many characters left to try to bring back. And he kind of went this route thinking it would work. And I mean, to be honest, like, I love there being another Time Lord and there being like a whole other like villain to the Doctor that isn't the Master, but the Rani was kind of mid for me through this season.
Again, she was just a means to an end.
Yeah.
It was a very cool reveal. Very cool previous episode in Wish World and setting this up, and then I don't know, Kaiju ate me.
Yeah.
So yeah, Tony, we'll be paying attention if the show gets renewed. We'll be very excited.
Yeah, no,
When the show gets
when
renewed,
the show, yeah.
we'll be very.
And I mean, yeah, I think I will likely do a small and short hiatus for Batwolf broadcast, and then possibly come back with a look back into Chuti later.
Yeah, we'll probably do that sooner rather than later, but then we'll definitely go on hiatus. We could do like a show rewatch thing. Maybe not cover every episode, but cover like highlight episodes.
Yeah.
As we wait to learn something.
The
of what's
Disney
next.
era.
Is over.
I don't think so. I think
I would. I'll be honest. I'll be fine if the Disney era is over. It's just like a BBC production.
as long as we can find easy distribution in the US, because that's the only reason why I was excited about the whole Disney thing.
No.
Like, because even up till Jodie, it was hard to watch Doctor Who in the US on release day.
Yeah, we'll see. If we have to pay BBC America, we'll pay BBC America.
I'll pay anything to watch Who.
Okay. Tony, that's it for us. That's it for Shutigawa as a doctor. Goodbye, kind sir.
We have been very happy with your performance. We loved your doctor. You were very kind, very lovable. You cried a lot, and we love you for that.
And that's like another cool thing. Now we start the question: when is Shuti coming back?
Yes.
So
yeah.
Oh,
I love that moment when he walks into unit wearing like his kill dress and whatever.
What
and
are you
Kate's like, "What are you wearing?" He's like, "The future, baby."
The future.
So good. Chuti.
I love Kate being like, "I'm wearing tweed."
Yeah.
Yeah, the future, baby. That was a great.
The future, baby.
Okay, Tony. So that's it for us. We'll be back. Hopefully, maybe next week, maybe in 2 weeks. I don't know.
Yeah.
Talking about
soon.
Shutigawa as a doctor. And Tony, take us out.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for being with us. It has been an amazing Doctor Who season. Check out everything below. Follow us. Subscribe. If you want to check us out in our other podcasts, make sure to check those out as well.
Learn Spanish.
And yeah, like Oti said, we'll be back soon talking about Chuti's run. And yeah, it was a short season, but we were glad to be a part of it, and we were glad to experience it. We'll see what comes next in season 16 of Doctor Who. And yeah, with that, everybody, Geronimo.